We got a super fight. A pound for pound start, maybe the best in the world, fighting the best prospect in the world. We get into it next. Please like and subscribe. Help us hit 10,000 subscribers. Share on all forms of social media. Please leave us a comment as well. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to another episode of The Hot Stove. Wow. Teofimo Lopez and Vasyl Lomachenko have signed contracts? That's according to Bob Arum. Arum spills the beans and says both fighters have signed and agreed. And the only thing that could hold up the fight, that could stop the fight from happening, is Luke Campbell upsetting Loma. In a fight that's scheduled for my birthday, scheduled for August 31st. So think of me when you're watching Campbell versus Loma in the UK. It looks like, and this is as per Bob Arum, who isn't an honest person, let's be real, but let's just take him on his word on this one. Now, keep in mind, he could very well be lying, but let's take him at his word, right? Let's say he's telling the truth. He says the fight's going to get made, period, paragraph. He says it's going to get made either the first quarter or April 2020, right? So the first 4 months of 2020, this fight's going to get made. So long as Lomachenko beats Campbell. As long as Campbell doesn't win, we're getting Teofimo Lopez and Vasyl Lomachenko. First, I want to get into this. I hate looking past your current opponent, especially when your current opponent is not a tune-up, it's a real fight. Loma seems to be doing that. Luke Campbell is a top 5 guy at 135. He's a gold medalist and a highly skilled fighter. Yes, Loma should beat him. But he needs to be on point. He needs to be focused, or he could get upset, right? Because upsets happen. Look what just happened to AJ. Look what happened to Hurt a couple weeks before that. Look what happened to Jamel Charlo. They both got upset when they were supposed to have a mega fight with each other. When you look past your opponent, 2 bigger fights, and your opponent's a real good fighter, you can lose. Keep that in mind. So, I don't like seeing, I'm going to sign a contract, I'm going to do this after I beat Campbell. Why don't you beat Campbell first and then worry about what you're going to do after that, right? Just Loma's head should be on nothing but Campbell. Just hyper focused on Campbell, and we'll deal with everything after that. But he seems to be looking past the Campbell fight and looking on to the next thing. Look, this is not Tom Schwartz, right? Like if Tyson Fury is looking past Schwartz, you kind of understand that because that's not a real fight. Luke Campbell's a real fight. Like, he's a top 5 lightweight for sure. And I think it's way too early for Teofimo. Teofimo has beaten nobody. And he's 21. He's not ready for Loma. I think Teofimo Lopez is great. I'm not knocking Teofimo Lopez. I think he's spectacular. I think his skills, his speed, his athleticism, his combination punching, his entire offensive game is spectacular. It's star-making, right? Like, he is an incredible athlete, an incredible fighter, and the world is his oyster, so to speak, eventually, right? The best names on his resume is Diego Magdaleno and Edis Tatley. Okay? He's fighting Nakatani in July in about 5 weeks. This does not prepare you to fight Loma. Right? And the Nakatani fight's in July. They're talking about him fighting Loma, let's say February, March, April, somewhere around there. Let's say March. Is he going to fight in between those 2 fights after Nakatani? Would he fight Comey? Would they do that if Comey's even healthy? Would they give him Beltran? Right? Like, or they're not going to give him any type of fight and just have him going from fighting Tatley and Nakatani to fighting the best guy in the sport. Arguably the best guy in the sport. It doesn't seem like he'd be ready for that. It seems like he would get taken to school by Lomachenko, right? Lomachenko's the wizard. He's the veteran. He's not just the veteran. He's the master boxer, right? Like the best boxer in the sport right now, who makes people quit. Like, he made Nicholas Walters quit boxing. I don't mean just the fight. He made him never box again, right? He's almost did that to Rigo, right? Like, he made Rigo quit. Rigo, one of my favorite fighters, 2-time Olympic gold medalist, former world champion. I love Rigo, right? And he should have never been in the ring with Loma in the first place. And you saw when they stood next to each other that they weren't in the same weight class. But look what Loma did to him, right? Like, Loma made him not want to be a part of the sport. He's taken one tune-up fight. He took a year off, took a tune-up fight. He's taking kind of another fight nobody cares about. Like, this is not. This is what Lopez. This is what Loma does to you. He makes you quit and want to quit boxing. He takes your heart from you, right? I don't think at this point putting a 21-year-old mega prospect with the brightest future in the sport in the ring with that guy right now is a good idea. He can't win. He's not going to win. Teofimo Lopez doesn't have the experience to beat Lomachenko. And I would be rooting for Teofimo Lopez. I'm not a huge Loma fan, and I really like Teofimo Lopez. It's just I'm trying to be realistic. If you want what's best for this kid, probably what's best for this kid is not having him fight the best guy in the sport this early in his career. But the fight is intriguing, and the fight is big, so I can't ever complain about the fight, right? And I'm pretty sure he's going to get outclassed, but he's so special athletically, right? And he's so special offensively. His combination punching is so fast and so powerful and so precise. I mean, he throws power punches, big shots that land on the button in rapid fire succession. You got to get sold on him. But then you remember, look who he's fighting. He's not just fighting a regular title holder. He's fighting arguably the best fighter in the sport, right? Definitely in the top 4. I have him number 2 pound for pound behind Crawford. You have Inoue and Canelo, which would be your top 4. So he's somewhere in that group of top 4 fighters in the world. He could be the best. I don't see, it's not like Lomachenko is very close to the end that if you don't make it too soon, you're not going to get it. Lomachenko's got time left, right? And this kid Teofimo still needs to get better. And he needs to fight better competition. He needs to test himself. He needs to be tested. He needs to face adversity. And he's not going to do that against Tatley and Nakatani. That doesn't prepare you to fight Loma. So I think Loma beats him. I think he beats him one-sided, but I kind of do want to see the fight. And I want to get into 2 comparisons. 2 other really young fighters with the world ahead of them who took mega fights like this early, at really, really early stage of their career. Canelo Alvarez, who was 22 or just turned 23, and he fought Floyd. And Floyd obviously dissected him, took him apart, beat him up, embarrassed him, made him look bad, right? I mean, he hurt him a couple of times. He made Canelo miss shots, by 2 feet. It was, he hit him so. He was. I mean, it was a one-sided massacre. It was a one-sided schooling, and that's kind of what I expect to see in the Loma Lopez fight. Is that kind of schooling. Canelo was special, right? After that fight, Canelo could have went one way, but he just kept pushing on. Canelo's a special fighter, so putting Canelo in that fight where he wasn't ready for it that early in his career somehow didn't derail Canelo. So that's something to look at, right? At that point, 6 years ago, I would have never in a million years that Canelo Alvarez would be this good, and we'd be talking about if Canelo Alvarez is the best fighter in the entire world, right? His resume says that he probably is. The resume is great. He's coming off that performance against Jacobs where he looked great in it. His defensive skills, his movement, his head movement, everything, his footwork, everything is really, really good. He's gotten so much better in those 6 years. So you could argue that loss was, he used it to fuel him and he used it to make him better. The second comparison I want to make is Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather, really early in his career for his first world title at just 21 years old, fought a guy named Genaro Hernandez. Genaro Hernandez was undefeated at 130. Had only lost to Oscar De La Hoya at 35. This was in 98. In 97, Genaro Hernandez was arguably, he was a candidate for Fighter of the Year. He had beaten Azuma Nelson, and he beat Famoso Hernandez. And it's he was far from shot. I mean, he was in his 30s, but he had just come off the best year of his career in 97. And Floyd fought him in 98, just 21 years old. He'd only been Floyd had been pro for less than 2 years. And I remember, when they announced that fight, I was like, this is way too soon Floyd can't handle this. Floyd's going to get taken apart. Gennaro Hernandez is not some champion who you go to him to take his belt. Gennaro Hernandez is the best 130-pounder in the world. Gennaro Hernandez is this. Gennaro Hernandez is that. Gennaro Hernandez is going to school him. And Floyd's just not ready. Floyd's going to take it out. Well, Floyd proved how great he was that night, right? I mean, we didn't know. No one knew how great. We knew Floyd was a super talent. He was a great prospect. We didn't know that we were going to be watching one of the great fighters of all time. We didn't know that he would never take it out, right? We didn't know any of that, but he proved how great he was. So what's my point, right? Like, what's my point with the Canelo and the Floyd comparison? Well, maybe Teofimo's that great. Maybe, we're going to be sitting back talking about Teofimo Lopez. Like, he's that once in a generation fighter. That he's the best fighter of the era. That he's one of the great fighters of all time. So maybe he can do it. Maybe he's ready. I just wouldn't bet on it. And maybe if he loses, it's good for him, like it was for Canelo. It taught Canelo a lesson. It taught him what he had to change. And Canelo is a better fighter now than I ever thought he would have been. Maybe if Teofimo Lopez gets schooled and gets dominated, he can go that route. So I wouldn't make the fight. Not yet. If I was Top Rank as a fan, I want to see it. But maybe Teofimo can use it. Maybe Teofimo. He either wins it, and we, just like Floyd did against Gennaro Hernandez, and we see, wow, this guy is unique. This guy is different. This guy is going to be atop the sport alone for a while. Or if he loses and he gets dominated, like Canelo did to Floyd, maybe he uses it to make him a better fighter. Maybe it's a learning experience. Maybe it's the best thing that could have happened to him, right? Maybe it levels him. He has to say, okay, I have to fix things, and it makes him 10 times better in the long run. I don't know, But it could go in one of those two directions. So schoolings aren't necessarily bad, and if he wins, then you're witnessing greatness. So there is good things that can come from this fight. But let me know what you guys think. Leave your thoughts, comments below. Please remember to like and subscribe. Please share this on all forms of social media. Help us hit that 10,000 subscriber mark for another very special edition of The Hot Stove. From Texas to the world, this is 3D Boxing saying thank you and God bless.
Enjoy 3D Boxing vlog videos? Show us some love by clicking the like button. Don't miss a tweet, post, story, or video. 3dboxingvlog.com is also on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hit the subscribe button now to stay inside the ring.